Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, today I have Dana Myers on the line, and she is a founder, author, and transformational speaker. And just so everybody knows that this particular interview is part of our Milken Global Conference, a coverage series where we bring you the best of those that attended, participated, the VIPs, the panelists, the speakers that were at the Milken Global Conference in Beverly Hills, California. So, Dana, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to meet you.
All right, Dana, so I have a confession. I was at the Milken Global Conference, but I didn't even know. I was busy doing interviews and working, and I didn't make it to the Wellness Garden, and I understand you were there. I was so bummed out. I heard they had puppies. I heard they had all kinds of things going on. Talk to me. What was going on at the Wellness Garden?
Oh, my God. The puppies were amazing. Listen, the puppies were the highlight. No, this was my first time experiencing the conference, and I was absolutely blown away across every aspect. The connections made, the energy, the learning, the opportunities, the possibility, the potential that Milken unleashes and unlocks for all who were there. So it was a real privilege for me. And the Wellness Garden, you know, was sort of tucked in the back, and it was outside, so not everybody got to see it. But it was a really special aspect of Milken. It was a place where people could go and unwind and get some fresh air and be treated to lots of different healing technologies and modalities. And just the posse that we were, the leaders and speakers and healers who were at the Wellness Garden, we just love to share a little bit of a different perspective for the more corporate-minded or the more traditional business leaders that were there. So it was a real special blending of sort of business intelligence and emotional and spiritual intelligence that came together in the Wellness Garden. So super special place, and really I loved being a part of it.
Amazing. Let's talk a little bit about what you're up to. So I know, what was your work and what specifically were you helping individuals with at the Garden?
Yeah, well, my history, I founded a business in 2005 with my husband in the sexual wellness industry, and we grew that for about 20 years. And then last year we were able to sell and exit the brand.
Wow. And congratulations, first off.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My whole life, though, and certainly in my business journey, I was always using ritual and what I loosely refer to as magic, but it's really ritual and involving spiritual and emotional intelligence to permeate every aspect of my life, including my business life. And so since selling my business, I've been able to shift into sharing that, taking my best lessons as a founder and entrepreneur and all the highs and lows and all the challenges and all the wins and all the epic fails that I made, taking the lessons of that and really blending it with my manifestation and ritual practices. So what I spoke on at Milken was how I became a really magnetic leader through using what I call the 5 Ps: presence, power, pleasure, preparation, and prosperity, and sharing some mini rituals across all of those pillars to really help the leaders who were at Milken tune in to their own higher self, their inner self, and add a little bit of ritual to all the other amazing corporate leadership tactics and tools that they use to really bring in some ritual to support that as well. So that's what I spoke on.
Can you give an example of what this might look like and I don't know if it changes for person to person but just an example so to kind of give us a visual.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we talk about presence, we're all so busy and we're also attached to our phones. And so often when we come into meetings, we have our phones and we're looking at our phones and then looking at the people that are also trying to get our attention. And so when we talk about presence, I talk about how your influence as a leader really starts with your energy. You want to be the signal for the people that you're leading, not just the noise, not just the person with the megaphone telling them what to do and how to do it, but you want to be a signal that really attracts their attention to you, that magnetizes your team to you. And so when you're working on building your true presence, we work with breath work. we work with intention setting. So before you go into a meeting where you're leading, you sit with yourself for a moment, you write down your intention. My intention is to lead with true presence, to remove my distractions, to give those that I lead my full attention so that they desire to follow me, to build the vision of myself and our company. So you just get still for a moment. Maybe you take 5 breaths. Maybe you write your intention statement. And you get to a state of more mindful leadership where you're regulating your own nervous system so that you can show up more grounded, more focused, more clear. You can ground the room that you're leading. You can listen better. You can lead with more intuition. And of course, by doing all of that, you're going to earn trust faster and in a more truly organic way. So my little minor rituals, right? You take a minute or two before you go into a meeting that you're leading to tune into your own presence so that you can give others that presence. And it really does shift the energy. It's really, really exciting. Small rituals, small changes make a big impact in your leadership.
That's awesome. Looking a bit further here, as you were out, I'm just curious, when you think about the Milken crowd, I feel like people were really accepting to your talk, weren't they? It's
oh my God,
to me.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, listen, we've seen big shifts in the business world. The biohacking movement is huge. Manifestation is no longer like a dirty word, right? It's no longer considered too woo or too out there. So I do think that there's been a big shift towards the mainstreamification of integrating tools that were once considered more woo and are now becoming more mainstream: manifestation, intention, energy work, grounding. We see so many corporate companies now having mindfulness practices and bringing in wellness speakers to help their leaders and their workers just become a little bit more balanced in their lives. And so, yeah, it was a very open crowd. No side eyes. I didn't get any side eyes. And I think that, what happened in the Wellness Garden is that a lot of the more traditional Milken attendees were able to say, hey, I'm actually doing this. Can we talk about it? And so there was that level of comfort. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Switching slightly here, because you did mention a word, I want to kind of circle back to it. What role does intuition play in modern executive decision making? Like, how does that relate?
Yeah. Well, I think, again, we're so overloaded by data and information and access to any piece of information that we want right now. And so that can take us away from our intuition. And so I think it's really important just to recognize that intuition is really a leadership superpower. If your inner wisdom, and if you start your day and multiple times you have check-ins with your intuition, it really amplifies your wisdom. So just taking a moment to drop into your intuition, and some people, intuition lives in the gut, right? That's where we call it a gut feeling. For some people, feel it in their hearts. For others, people hear their intuition whiz in like a little message or their inner voice. Ultimately, intuition is going to help you cut through the noise, right? So if you take a moment to drop in and say, what is my intuition telling me in this moment? It is going to help leaders make faster, more aligned decisions, right? Especially if you're feeling a ton of pressure, if you've got different opinions coming at you all day, but you are the leader and your decision is the decision. You drop in, you slow down, you get grounded, you say, okay, what does my intuition tell me? And of course, you listen and then you cross-check that with all the data and all the different factors that are coming at you that you must consider in order to make your decision. But often, I would say often or always, really, the intuition never leads you astray, right? And so I teach intuitive tools like visualization, getting to really put a name, a face, a visual to your higher self, to your intuitive voice. So oftentimes people are like, well, how do I find my intuition? I say, imagine yourself in 40 years. Imagine yourself in 50 years when you're 90, when you're wise, you're at your wisest, you've lived through it all. What would that vision of your higher self tell you? That one works really well for people. working with archetypes, right? The healer, the wise one, the visionary, the magician, learning about archetypes, right? And oftentimes people will find that archetype that just really resonates with them and they go, okay, oh, my archetype is the emperor, the builder, that fathering archetype who knows how to build, not just for his core family self, but for the highest good of the community, the organization. When someone can check in, what would the emperor tell me? That's also tuning into your intuition. And so really, I always say the best leaders aren't just strategic, they're really attuned into their intuition. And that really helps guide us towards the right outcomes. Again, not just for ourselves, but for the higher good of the organization, of the community at large.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you, this has been a lot of fun having you on the show today, Dana. I learned a lot. I hope my audience did. That being said, I know you exited your previous business. Are you working with people right now, like one-on-one? Are you outside of the Milken Institute and how you were at the Wellness Garden? Like, how are you working with people right now? Is it one-on-one? Is it group? Is there, like, retreats? Like, what are you up to?
Yeah, it's both. I work with people one-to-one here in my Miami studio and, of course, virtually using tools like tarot and tarot blueprinting and life mapping blueprinting we do. So you kind of come in with whatever's on your mind, what your obstacles are, what your challenges are, and through tarot and archetypal work, we kind of help make a map for you to evolve. I also do group work here. I do workshops. And I'm just in a very creative place right now, creating this next vision of my life. And it's a really open, wonderful time for me. You can find me if you want to work together at my website, which is danabmyers.com. I'm on Instagram at Dana Myers XOXO. It's pretty easy to find me, and I work with people in a number of different ways. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Wonderful. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over and connect with Dana. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Dana, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks so much.